it doesn't, that thought doesn't hold so much strength when you realize that, look, the universe is so big, and what are the chances that we are the only planet that could have extraterrestrial life on it, and not just extraterrestrial life, but intelligent life. So if you look at the size, it's like what Richard Dawkins, he was like given an infinite amount of possibilities. Anything is possible. Like if you have an infinite amount of things that can happen, it's like chances are that we couldn't be alone, but we don't know for a fact if we're not alone or not. So we're just working around probability. And
perhaps the sad part is that we might not even find out that.
Plus, we also have the issue for our life. Our life is too short.
Yeah, life is too short. That's the thing. So that's why you find these people who are developing things like trying to solve that puzzle of life. Like, what if we could live forever? What if we could live forever and explore the cosmos?
Yeah. But I think, though, if we did find like some life somewhere else, if we were exploring the cosmos, I think it would just heighten the nihilism, because that would be a definite stamp on to show that we're not so special and we're not alone. That's why there's a fuss about finding life out there. Because if we just found even just microbes somewhere else, then it would seem, even them, given a good amount of time, they could go through the same evolutionary process that brought about our biodiversity. So now if it's there, it's outside somewhere there, we just found it, then it means everything we've come to know and we've known is all lies. And that would be, that's where nihilism comes in.
But that's the thing, and I think that's the most interesting thing about being human. We are constantly in a learning process about ourselves and the environment in which we live in. Because if you go back 100 or maybe 50 years ago, the things that we knew that have been disproven by science. So we had to let go of those things. So even now, we now live in an age where there's just so much information around us. Like the things that we're of today will no longer be of tomorrow. They will not be proven like facts. They won't be facts anymore. They'll just be mere conjectures.
And talking of things that have been disproven by science, I think the more ignorant we were, the more awe-inspired we were. Because we would look at stuff like a rainbow and then would ascribe meaning to it. And then it had just like a very... It had like some kind of... how can I put it? Some kind of
intimate attachment.
Some kind of transcendent spiritual attachment to it. But the more we're finding natural explanations behind different phenomena, it's like we're left with no room for awe, you know?
This thing about being human, you always have to attach meaning to anything. I think that's because we evolved so much that we become these complex beings which are like that are self-aware. That's actually a problem on its own, because now we're able to like know more about ourselves, and then it's becoming problematic, because the more we know about ourselves, the more we're becoming nihilistic and more.
So with this issue of attaching meaning to things, do you think there are certain things that we don't necessarily attach meaning, but they already have an inherent meaning in themselves? Like, even if we were there, so for example, if humans were not there, those things would still be meaningful. If we remove humans from the picture, say for example, is there a thing or a quality or something that can still stand? Like love, say for example, could love still be love if humans weren't here to practice it?
No,
or to feel it?
It wouldn't even be love. Love
it would be arbitrary.
It's just an arbitrary concept. It won't, because we've attached meaning to it. And then there's also the issue of socialization. We've socialized into thinking that this thing is the good thing, this thing is a bad thing, this thing, when you feel this way, it's called love. How do you know what love even is? Like, you might just be, I don't even know how to put it, but we've attached meaning to things, and that's the thing about humans. Because humans, we work with patterns. For anything. It's like the example you gave about rainbows. Like, say the people, our ancestors, when they looked at the stars, they'll see the stars, they'll create a pattern to that. It's like how conspiracy theories work as well. You create a pattern and start seeing, because you can make a pattern out of anything pretty much. Because I saw you yesterday and I've seen you today, I'm like, oh, it's a coincidence. What's going on? So we always attach meaning to things. We create patterns to make sense of the world in which we live in. But then the problem comes in when those patterns don't make sense.
Oh yeah, or they don't you can't reconcile them with natural science.
Yeah, or just reality. Just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because at some point, people used to worship the sun.
Yeah.
Because they attached meaning to it. They created a pattern that this is where everything, without it, things are bad.
Yeah.
Like if you live in the northern hemisphere where you don't have sunlight for it, well, it's pretty bad. It's pretty shit.
Yeah.
But if you come southwards or downwards, there's the sunlight. Everything is thriving. You've got the jungles where there's that complex biodiversity and all that. So people attached meaning. They saw that this thing is powerful, so let's worship it.
Yeah.
But then it became disproven that this thing, well, it's just there.
Yeah, it's just like a thought that we collectively built.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes ascribing meaning to things because we want to make sense of this life, it kind of helps, because you might go mad if you take life for what it truly is. So I think humans who've been trying to do that haven't been doing it out of a very deceptive place. Maybe they've been trying to figure out life itself,
Mm-hmm.
But while trying to do that, they come up with theories that we know are lies today. Like, say for example, in the past, people used to believe in this thing used to have a view of the universe called the geocentric view of the universe, where they thought we're at the center of the universe, But then came people like Galileo and Copernicus, who started looking into the sky and saying, like, look, we can't be. There's no way we're at the center, But if you're just an ordinary person seeing the world, just looking up, it feels logical that you could be at the center. But the more we found out that we're just a tiny thing in a bigger picture, it's like we were stripped of the importance we had, and then that now boils back to feelings of nothingness, Yeah.
It's like you remember how in biology back in high school or primary school you'd learn about the carbon cycle.
Yeah.
Of where when we are all part of this like system or a chain.
Yeah.
So when you die, you become part of the soil, and you're feeding bacteria, which are going to feed on you. You have food for another organism. And that organism is going to produce that nutrient for plants. And that plant is going to feed humans who are still alive. So it's like a cycle. We're all connected. So when you think of yourself as the most important things, we are deluding ourselves. Like we're just part of this system. We're just placed on this planet just to be maybe the overseers, because we're meant to protect the other people.
But then when you say placed again, it begs the question, because
it makes us feel more important. But then again, I mean, when you die, you just become manure. You become food for another organism. So that puts like, you're not that important.
And that's hard for most people to take. Like, how can we just be nothing? Because even me, like, sometimes it makes you might go crazy, because you're thinking, how could it just be possible that this is it? You know what I mean?
This is just all there is.
Like, this is it. Like, it doesn't hit well, Because even me, I don't think I would be lying if I said I've fully reconciled myself with the fact that this life could be all there is and there's nothing out there,
But that's why we created things like religion, to give us that like optimism, that sense of like there's something out there, and maybe if you do right, you're going to be in this other realm where you'll be like this. It's a good thought to have. But then if you're going to be a realist and say, or a pessimist or a nihilist and say, no, there's nothing, when you die, you're died.
So what do you think? How do you think? So with that said, then how do you think we should handle the issue of the question of purpose? Because now, with that established, it's like there's no objective purpose that goes beyond everything. You just make it up as you go. So like what would you say to somebody who's just says, no, look, my purpose is entirely pleasure driven, and I mean, what's the end result at the end of the day?
Like what the end goal is.
Like what can you tell me? Like that's of serious importance.
I think there is a very big silver lining to knowing that nothingness. It gives you that knowledge that this is it that you have, and you have to make the most or the best out of it.
Yeah.
So we derive pleasure from so many things. So whatever it is that makes you happy, maybe do that in this little time that you have. Because if I go back to like the issue of demography, say in Zambia our life expectancy is about maybe 54. And if you're now in your 30s, so statistically speaking, you have about 20 years to live. So that like you have to do all that you can in these 20 years. Or if say maybe the average lifespan for somebody who was born in maybe Samfia, for them to survive childbirth, they'll probably live up to maybe 17. So you have 17 years to do that makes you happy. So maybe just do that, and whatever it is that means to you, maybe do that.
I also think you people should do exactly what makes them happy. There's a bigger question that can be handled as to what is it that entails happiness, but that's a whole different topic. But I also think people should be cautious on how they pursue happiness, because the pleasure-driven life again is not really providential. We'll be living like the Greeks, who just used to sleep around, drink, and it was like party all the time, and I think that's not really meaningful.
So what is meaningful to you then?
I think what would be meaningful is the fact that you realize that chances are that this is the only life you have. I think it's more noble to learn about this life, like study the universe, study science, study philosophy, so that you can go through life feeling like you've done something noble with your short time, as opposed to somebody that just eats themselves away, or drinks themselves away.
That's why in a way I would like to be like, what's the word, is it immemorialized or something, in a statue? That way I get to live forever. But I mean, it's nice to live in people's minds, but when there's like a physical, like things that people have attached meaning to, that's you. Like say the way we have the statue of David Livingstone in Livingstone. So David Livingstone died almost 200 years ago, but he pretty much will live forever.
His legacy still lives.
So it still lives in our mind, in our consciousness. So it's still with us. So I mean, maybe if you want to.
I think that's a way to keep yourself alive.
You can keep yourself alive.
I think that explains the hard work that people try to put in, because everybody just wants to be remembered.
Yes, that's why I find people going on social media posting stuff. They want to be remembered. They want to be remembered for something. You have to, because we are, at the end of the day, we are specks, like we are fragments in people's minds. Like I've met you, and I might travel, maybe I'll leave the country at some point, but you'll be there in my mind. So in my mind, you're still alive. You might be dead, but you're still there. So a part of it, we hold a piece of each other in a fragment.
But there's some people that just don't give a damn about that. They just go like, as long as I matter to the people around me, the people I love, my family, and the people in my social sphere, that's okay. And then when those people who make up your social sphere also die, then you've died twice for all time.
Pretty much. Then you've died.
That's
why I always tell like students, like sometimes you have to make an impression. You have to leave. A legacy may be too much of a stretch for somebody who's an average person, but just leave an impression. Can be a good impression or a bad impression. Just leave an impression in people's minds, so that one day, if something were to happen to you, people will be like, oh, that's the person who did this. I remember that person. I mean, I don't know his name, but I remember this person. So in that way, you're still.
And since we're living in the age of technological advancement, it's easy to leave some marks behind. I mean, we're living in the world of YouTube and all that stuff. So it's easy to leave an influential mark. Just have something important to say,
I think that's another topic, maybe for another day, about technology and consciousness and what it means when somebody dies. But their videos still exist on YouTube or Facebook. You see them. I mean, the people that I know who've died, but then I'll still see their memories on Facebook coming up. That's like, it's
weird.
It's quite weird, because as humans, I think we are like socialized to think when you're dead, you're gone just like that. But with the issue of technology, part of you is pretty much still there.
And why most people, I think why most people don't entertain the thought of nihilism, or why they hold on so strongly to what they believe. It's because people don't, deep down, we all don't want to die. You know, there's that part of us that wants to just live on forever.
Yeah.
So people try to buy into anything that pushes that agenda.
Yeah, we do, and we do a lot of, like, say, physically, literally, we do like going to the gym. That's one way of saying that I want to live forever.
Yeah.
Because someone said out there that if you don't do this, you're hard to do this. You have a stroke. You have diabetes. You have, so even the way we eat. So in a way, it's subconsciously we're doing it to preserve ourselves and to live longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think as humans, we've had this battle with mortality.
Yeah.
We want to, I don't know,
We want to stop ourselves from being
immortal
in some way. You know, when we reach those levels, then we can really say, like Nietzsche put it, that God is dead. You know, because what Nietzsche was trying to say was, we're now living in an age where we have discovered so much, and people have disregarded anything to do with the supernatural. You know, because there's no room now in a naturalistic worldview to find space for a supernatural. And then when we reach a point where we can't die, then that seals the deal. You know,
yeah,
that would be like a seal.
Yeah.
Any last remarks? Any last words?
Yeah, it's like, as I said, about happiness and the little time that we had.
Yeah.
It's like someone said about, if you close your eyes and just count one.
Yeah.
That's pretty much like how forever sounds like.
Yeah.
Or how it feels like.
Yeah.
So in this little time that you have, maybe do the things that make you happy.
Yeah.
Well, of course, without harming anyone. But do the things that make you happy, and whatever meaning you attach to that thing, yeah, that's your thing. So do that this little time that you have.
Yeah, and I would equally say the same thing. Just make the most out of the few days you have, because, I mean, you can't mount your whole existence on a probability or a fact that you can't substantially prove, or an afterlife that you can't really substantially prove is there. You know, so the best you can do right now, to be prudent. We're not saying be a debauched person. You just go out there, mess up your life, kill if you want. I mean, there's who says it's wrong or not, you know. But try to live in a very honest way, a meaningful life, a life that's meaningful to you. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, so this is where we end today's conversation. Join us next time, and this has been a conversation that I've had with no, I won't call you Mr.
No,
with Laxon.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.